Hi, everyone. Welcome to VR for Work. My name's Rick. I'm the host here at VR for Work. Today is Monday, September 7th. So happy Labor Day to you that are in the States watching this. But we never rest here at VR for Work to bring you the best content in your VR headset for getting work done and being productive in VR. Today, we have a special treat, I think, a little bit of something different than we've done here before in VR for Work. We're going to be talking about a application called Resolve. Now, Resolve is an application that exists within the AEC, or architecture, engineering, construction industry. And as you're seeing the video running on the presentation board in front of you, it is designed so that users and teams can actually take those flat 2D architectural drawings and actually visit them within a 3D space within VR, inspect and address issues, questions, changes that need to be made, and actually export from that work or follow-ups that need to be done to ensure the successful resolution or the resolving of issues having to do with a construction project. So let's go over a few terms first. I use the term AEC, right? An acronym for architecture, engineering, and construction. And let me pause here and just say, AEC is certainly not the industry or the expertise that I bring to the table here at VR for Work. But I have had experience in actually bringing Resolve successfully into my healthcare organization. And so a quick story, as I had started up VR for Work and was kind of exploring the landscape in the industry of productivity within VR, and I was looking at various different applications and industries that are impacted by working within a 3D spatial environment. This was one of the things that came up. And so I looked at it and found it, certainly interesting, kind of tucked it away in the back of my head until a few months later, I was sitting in a meeting at work. Like I said, I work in healthcare, and we were talking about a new construction project that we were undertaking in our community to bring up a new freestanding medical facility. And as the contractors were talking about and sharing, in a WebEx, some of these architectural drawings, this idea of AEC and BIM files came up, right? And a BIM file is, again, as you can see up here on the board, is building information modeling. The synapses started to fire and the light bulb went off. And I said, I have read this somewhere before. Went back, did some more research, talked to the guys in the construction company who said, yeah, we use this thing, Autodesk BIM 360. I said, oh, there's another little light bulb that's going off. I know I'm making connections here between what you're doing, how we're working with you, and this product that I had seen out in the industry. Do you mind if I can get the developers on the phone, can we talk to them about how this works? And so we did, and I got the construction engineers on the phone with the guys at Resolve, or actually it's InsiteVR, and talked, and they were like, oh yeah, why don't we do a demo? And I brought my own Oculus Quest headset into the office, connected up to the public internet, and showed some of my leadership where I work how this works, and they were just blown away. They said, we've got to have this. This is absolutely the kind of thing we need to do to ensure that this project is a success and also keep costs down related to issues or errors that may not be identified early on in the project. And so, again, I threw out a few terms. Autodesk BIM 360. It's a cloud platform. Think Microsoft or Office 365 for building information modeling files. And then Revit is the actual application or the architectural application in which the building is kind of modeled or put together, right? The door is this wide and this tall, and it swings this way, and the wall's this wide or long and tall, and the floor goes from here to here, right? All of those facts and figures and measurements are put together in Revit. And then Resolve comes into the picture, right? It's clearly in the creation and communication and meeting and collaboration space that we define here at VR for Work, the 4 categories of applications in VR. And creation and communication from the perspective that you're meeting with architects, with the end users, with project managers, and you're talking about how this project is proceeding ahead, how everything from very specific rooms to areas to the entire layout of the facility impacts workflow and things like that. As well, of course, as meeting and collaboration. This isn't an application just one person gets into, but a team can actually visit inside this space and discuss various aspects of the project. As I had mentioned earlier, Resolve is developed by the group at InsiteVR. It is an Oculus Quest only app, right? It only works with the Quest. So they were very into the untethered ability to, put on this headset, whether you were on perhaps even on the construction site itself or in an office, and connect up and have a meeting. There is a desktop client for Windows, so users who are not or don't have access to a headset can still follow along in 2D space and discuss and see what the people in the 3D space are doing. It's designed to inspect the specifics within the BIM file. So the BIM file is put together in 3D space, and again, you can see where that door is placed, which way it swings, how wide the wall is, are there any impediments or issues with workflow in that space, and of course in healthcare, these things are very, very important. And as you'll see, basically what you do is you put the headset on, you fire up Resolve, you connect to the BIM files, and you actually transverse and walk around or fly around the architecture space. You can meet with other individuals or teams within the space. Again, you're not there by yourself. You can be with the architect, you can be with a construction manager, you can be with a plumber, you can be with an electrician, you can be with a nurse, you can be with a physician. And you can say, hey, does this layout work for you? And can we make this happen? You can create notes and documents for follow-up right within the app. So, and this is really, really cool in that everything that happens in a meeting session within Resolve is there for output at the end of the session in a PDF file. So if you go in there and you make a voice note or mark up a specific area or identify an issue, that all is there at the end of the session in a PDF file for follow-up. It's very, very cool. And so you put the headset on, and then there's three ways to connect. You pair the Quest with the BIM 360 account in the cloud. So when we signed our agreement with Insight, they sent us Oculus Quests already connected to the BIM 360 account for our project in the cloud, so that we could just put the headset on, fire up Resolve, and we're in the session. But we can also enter individual BIM 360 accounts because we plan to use this for other projects, right? Maybe with other contractors or architects. We'll have other BIM 360 files or accounts that we need to access. And when we do, we'll still be able to use that same headset and that same Resolve system. And then if we're just inviting somebody in, if I were home on lockdown and I have my Quest headset, but I want to get in there and take a look, maybe at some of the IT closets, I can jump in there, I can get a guest code and go into the session. So let's get started. Let's take a look at this because this is exciting. So here I am. I'm just entering actually the environment with my host, Russell. Russell is one of the guys from InsiteVR who developed Resolve. And he's going to take me on a tour here through the building. And you can see we're in a large electrical or boiler room of some sort. You can see up here in front of me, I have my uh, tablet that's controlled on my left controller, and it tells me who's in the meeting. A couple of things I want to call out. You can see that there's an invite button so that we can invite other folks into us if we needed to maybe talk to the electrician about some of this. And if we got separated, because again, you're actually traversing in virtual space, this physical structure. So it's easy to get lost or him to be in one room or on one floor and me to be on another. And I just need to pull this up, click go to, and once again, we're in the same spot. And so here we are. See if I can pause this real quick. You can see that all the controls are here on my two controllers. Left controller is where my tablet is, and I have just 3 tabs that I have to remember. You can see I can toggle the menu on and off to get it out of my way with the menu button. There's a fly button. Yep, you can fly through, right? So if you want to move upward into the floor above you or down to the floor below you, you can use this button. They advise to use teleport when you're on the one floor to minimize motion sickness. Most of these people who are going to use this, I know, for instance, at my organization, I'm going to put this on the head of one of my physicians who's never had VR on in their life, and we don't want anybody getting motion sick. You can slide move, like many of us who've used VR for a while might want to do, but teleport is there and is what's called out to you here. You can inspect properties, so we'll talk a lot more about this, and then toggle the tooltips. So I'm not going to pause too long here. I want to kind of get going. All right, you can see I can create, I can do content. So when I create, I can create an annotation. Remember I said that during this meeting, you can actually leave sticky notes or markers on things that you can come back and check later. You can create views. So if I'm in a specific location and I'm looking at a specific thing, I can create a view of that, let's say, electrical panel or boiler or conduit or even patient care space. And if I create that view, I can come back to that space, to that specific view by clicking there. I can add and subtract layers from the architectural drawing so that there's more or less for me to see. I can put my laser pointer at a specific item, and the properties of that item, when I pull the trigger, would be presented to me here on this tablet. And a couple of other things, but I don't want to digress too much. There's a lot. I'm not trying to go item by item or point by point. You can see I can add a speech to text annotation. I can do a preset annotation, take a screenshot. I can sketch, measure, and create a view. Okay. So Russell and he's kind of showing me kind of all the controls at this point. Excuse me. And you can see again, right, left controller, right controller, pretty clear how they all work. You can see I am sliding around. And they do kind of narrow the view on the headset when you do use glide versus teleport. And here we are showing the teleport. You can see that the avatar models are pretty simplistic, and I think that's fine. You're not focused on avatars. This isn't, Facebook Horizon or Alt Space. We're in here to focus on the content of the architecture. And here we are teleporting, and we're coming into another room and another area. And again, we've got some electrical boxes here. And again, the detail behind any of these structures is very dependent on what the architect adds to the BIM file. So for instance, now he's showing me fly, so I can go up. We can go up, and I think we do. We're going to go through the floor into actually a patient care area. So here we are. We're in a care area, right? I've got a bed, I've got an overbed table, I've got a couple of guest chairs, I've got now, and again, in healthcare, things like the size of this door, the positioning of this sink, this Hoyer lift, this bed patient lift, above the bed, right? All needs to be taken into consideration from a workflow perspective, right? These uh, uh, receptacles on the wall, the gases coming in, where a laptop or a computer might sit on the wall, right? All these things oftentimes get taken for granted. And I've been in construction projects where, you're almost in the final phases of it, and people are touring and going, oh, well, that shouldn't be there. That needs to be moved. Or, oh, man, how come we don't have oxygen in the wall over here? Or, okay, and that can add up to thousands and thousands of dollars, right? And so here I'm going to just take, and I'm just moving around, right? Looking at the door, looking at the door. And I think what I'm going to do here is drop an annotation. I'm going to create an annotation, and I'm going to go up to, Russell's coming around to show me. See, you can see each other's tablets, add a preset annotation, right? And these are a few that are in here, and you can add others. But I'm going to say, right, grab this annotation that says, what is this? And I got to click it. And once I grab it and I put it, I'm going to put it on the bedside table, boom. And that gets attached to that item in the file. So again, when we're done this session, obviously, we can clean this up. This is just a dry run, but then this becomes part of the documentation from our meeting for follow-up after we've inspected the area or the building. Okay. And so I think now he's showing me, here's how we view the annotations up here. And I can see exactly where all these annotations are. And what I'm going to do is actually fly out to one of these annotations, right? And this was kind of an interesting experiment. So I did it, and I ended up kind of out here in space. And what you'll do is you'll see that the building is kind of way off in the horizon. So I'm like, what am I doing? I'm floating out here in the clouds. There's nothing here. There's the building. I'm like, what am I doing out here? Now, Russell and I were still able to talk and chat, and he kind of brought me back to him in a second. And what he explained was, at some point, the drawing entailed an area that extended into that specific location. And now what we've got to do is, I'm going to go through and delete some of these old annotations that really don't point to anything. But yeah, that happened. But you can go around here and you can drop an annotation on any specific point. You can see one over here. What is this? We can go out here. We can actually, now we're in a nursing station area. And again, you can see the representation of the computers on the desks. You can kind of sit here, and I think what I'm going to do is actually go in and do a measurement. I can find it. This is kind of one of my second run through, so I'm going to go in here and go the preset annotation. Speech to text, that's what he's going to do. He's actually going to demonstrate speech to text, so he can click that. He's talking, I'm watching, and when he's done finished, that speech gets dictated, and then he can drop right there. This is a speech to text annotation, speech 1, 2, 3 test, 1, 2, 3. So, if you don't have a preset, you can actually just create one on the fly using speech to text and drop it in that area. And then I think I start playing with the measuring tool here coming up. I'm going to go, okay, how long is this desk? How many people maybe can we actually put at it? How many monitors, right? Because more and more nowadays in healthcare, we're seeing dual screen monitors, not single screen monitors, and they're dual 24 inches, right? So if I'm wondering how many workstations am I going to get across this desk, I can actually grab it and start measuring, right? And the measurement always gives you, I'm just getting a length here, but Russell explained to me that all their measurements are actually triangulated. So you do get start, end, and volume and elevation. And I guess from an architectural standpoint, you can see there's 3 points here. That can be helpful and important. All right, let's see if I jump ahead. Okay, we're in a space here. This is a waiting area. Now, let me pause here and talk just for a second about this, right? You think about this was all thought about and designed pre-COVID. Now, the first thing I thought of when I came in here was spacing. And I went, oh, this is all going to change, right? We're not going to have these chairs side by side next to each other anymore, maybe ever, correct? So this whole area is going to need to be rethought. And I wondered, gee, if I weren't in here in this 3D space, if this would kind of come out, occur to me. So, and he's showing me now the sketching and the drawing tools. And again, even the sketching and the drawing that you do while you're in these areas, right, will come out on that post-visit PDF that can get generated, again, as a action takeaway from the walkthrough. And every area you go into, right, you're going to find in this particular area, hey, all these chairs need to come out of here, right? And we need to rethink this space. Maybe we're building partitions. Maybe we're just picking different furniture, or maybe we rethink this whole open space concept moving forward, and it needs a complete redesign, right? And so he's showing me you can, either draw on a surface, you can draw in air, and undo works, and I can undo successively in layers all the things that I had put on the wall or in the air. Okay, oh, this is cool. This was really cool. So after we finished here, he then showed me something called the Dollhouse View, right? So we both moved outside of the space and are now looking at that specific floor or area. So I was seated, and so it's kind of, I had to stand up. And once I stand up, right, that's why they call this Dollhouse View. Now you can see I'm looking down, and here's that same space that we were in just a few minutes ago. And what you're able to do is you might see this blue line that's outlining everything. There's actually handles on that you can reach out and grab and pull up and down to move the layer further up or further down. So now we're looking at kind of the space where all the ductwork is above that seated area, right? And so here's all the HVAC ductwork and electrical conduit, right? And we can point that out. And again, make notes from here. And then you can see Russell's drawing here and saying, hey, maybe this pipe needs to be moved over because we don't have the headway. It's running into the wall over here. Okay, now you can see he's lowering it. If you caught that, but now he lowered it. So we went through the ceiling and now we're looking at the space right underneath of it. And, again, I've been in these construction meetings looking at 2D drawings. You just cannot get the same conceptual understanding of the space and the relationship between things that you can get using a tool like Resolve. And then you can actually think he's going to, if you're in here with multiple users, right? Russell's actually going to jump into the drawing. So he's down in there. And then I think I need to push the plane down. There he is. So you can see Russell is now, might have missed him. Let's see if I get it back. Russell is now actually kind of in real view in the drawing while I'm looking up above. So he might be standing in a spot and say, okay, Rick, raise the layer up and tell me what's right above my head. And again, until you've actually done the construction, oftentimes you're unable to do this kind of exercise. And Russell's able to move around and I'm actually following him. I mean, just just incredible stuff. Just really, really cool. Now you will see that as he moves into different areas, it takes a moment for it to build. This is a lot of polygons and information that is being pulled down from the cloud to be represented in the Quest headset at any given moment. So very, very cool. And now here we are, we're back in one of the rooms. And yeah, that is a whirlwind tour of Resolve. So yeah, as you could tell, I was really impressed. This was something that I don't get to experience or do every day, and it turned into something that I think is going to be very valuable for my organization. We get up here into consumption and retention. Again, compare being in the 3D space to looking at 2D drawings, no comparison whatsoever. Being able to see that in relationship to my actual presence in the space, and being able to retain how that looks, it's got to be X times better than just looking at a plain drawing. Create and being efficient. Again, we can have these meetings in the space before the space is built. And then we can take that information or discussion that we've had while we were there, and then we can make changes on the fly that again, and when we get down here to value, the ROI can save us money. Focusing on tasks and priorities. Again, I've been in the construction meetings where you're in a room with a couple of other departments, a couple of other people. You're kind of waiting your turn to go, and so you're not necessarily focused. And again, this comes down to the focus that you get being in a VR headset, and then again the ergonomics. Social and collaboration. Again, we were going to have, if we had not come across Resolve, a lot of this project would have been being done over WebEx, sharing drawings and desktops. Now we can actually be in physical space, talking to one another, making notes, and that all comes down here to the bottom line. This is without a doubt going to bring incredible value to our organization. Okay, well, we'll end with this. You don't actually do a project. You can only do action steps related to it. And when enough of the right action steps have been taken, some situation will have been created that matches your initial picture of the outcome closely enough that you can call it done. And this is by David Allen, who's infamous for all of his writings about productivity and project management. And I think this goes really well with the topic of Resolve today, and the size of a construction project and the number of people and departments and entities involved in getting all of that done. We often only see a little piece of that. This really increases, a product like Resolve really increases your understanding and involvement in a scope of a project that large. So highly recommend, if you're in the market for something like this, that you're doing an AEC project, right? Architecture, engineering, construction, that you give these guys a call and take a look at it. So thanks for stopping by VR for Work. If you want to reach out and talk to us, we're at VR for Work. That's work with no O at gmail.com. Check out our YouTube, Facebook pages. Follow us on Twitter. We'd really appreciate you stopping by. We really, really value your input. We're continuing to record in our different environments. I just kind of got over the hump with a technical issue we were having here in Engage to get my desktop presented. And so it's exciting to be able to bring it to you again from this platform. So thanks very much. Appreciate you coming, and we'll see you in the metaverse. Bye now.